The story takes place on an island where hunters are fighting against gigantic ant monsters, and their leader is extremely worried about keeping these creatures under control. However, they are being overwhelmed by the ants, and the leader is about to be defeated when suddenly a person with incredible healing powers arrives and saves the day. Then another teammate unleashes some top-tier hunter abilities, and they successfully defeat the red ants. But their victory is short-lived as a colossal white ant appears, and things become incredibly challenging. The leader goes all out, rallying the team and tearing that albino ant to shreds limb by limb. But just when they think they've won, an army of these colorless ants creeps in. Thankfully, Mr. Choi from the nearby city steps in and torches those suckers, leaving only the colorless ones for his exterminator team to handle. Now flashback to 10 years earlier, when portals to another dimension opened up, unleashing all these monsters. Only folks with special powers, called hunters, can deal with them. And these hunters, they're ranked from STE based on their powers, which are set in stone once they awaken. 3 years after the ant infestation, we meet our main man, Jin Woo. He's joining a raid mission, but folks aren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat for him, especially Parks, who's been MIA. See, Jin Woo's got a rep as the weakest hunter, and he even ended up in the hospital after an E-rank dungeon blunder. Ouch. Jin Woo overhears his team talking smack about his skills and the mission's supposed cakewalk, but he takes it all in stride. Judy, one of his teammates, isn't too pleased with Jin Woo's constant injuries and gives the team an earful for not having a healer last time. Stalin, the top dog hunter, takes charge for the next mission, and Jin Woo's dead set on proving himself, despite his financial woes and crappy gear. Meanwhile, the president of the Hunters Association is feeling the heat from the government, who's worried about these dungeon breaks, while also leaning on the association for dungeon loot, which keeps their wallets happy. The president caves to the government's demands for those precious magic gems, which they snag from smacking down magic beasts. Jin Woo's all hyped up about getting his hands on one of these gems, but his excitement gets a reality check when he tangles with this relentless goblin that wrecks his blade and leaves him hurting bad. Luckily, his teammate comes to the rescue and Judy patches him up real quick. They find out these high-ranked magic gems are like gold. They can whip up some seriously powerful weapons, perfect for taking down bigger baddies. Plus, the government's eyeing them for some clean energy gig using dungeon mana crystals. Inside the dungeon, after they whack the boss, Jin Woo banged up something fierce and Judy questions his life choices. Jin Woo's hoping for a fat reward, but all he gets is this dinky E-rank gem. Bummer. But then they stumble upon this deep cave, and they start wondering if it's some kind of double dungeon deal. Even though they've taken down the big boss, the dungeon's still wide open. Song tells them to skedaddle back to the Hunters Association, but the gang ain't having it. They're itching for more adventure and hoping to score some sweet loot. They end up voting on whether to dive deeper into the unknown, and Jin Woo's family's financial troubles sway his vote. With the prospect of cash on the line, Jin Woo's all in. Meanwhile, back in the city, hunters are getting ranked up based on their strength. Mr. Choi's recruiting the cream of the crop like Cha Hai-in, a total legend in the S-rank scene. And while all this is happening, Cha Hai-in's out there fearlessly taking down purse snatchers like it's nothing. In the dungeon, the clock's ticking, and they've got a limited time to wrap things up before the portal slams shut. Jin Woo's feeling guilty about putting Jui in harm's way, but she's not having any of his self-pity. She just wants him to buy her dinner to make up for it. But as they head toward the boss room, one of their crew's determination to succeed starts overshadowing common sense. Back in the city, new hunters are getting the lowdown on dungeon exploration, and they're being warned to watch their backs. Meanwhile, our team's stumbling into this ancient room in the dungeon, totally clueless about the trouble that's about to hit them. As they search for the boss, Song spots this funky magic circle on the ground and some old tablet blabbering about a god's commandments. Chui's freaking out about this giant statue's eyes, and when the door slams shut, panic sets in. Jin Woo's starting to realize they're in way over their heads, especially when he sees those statues might be able to move. Jin Woo's flashbacks to his past life-threatening scrapes, where he's managed to squeak by with nothing but his wits and busted gear, aren't exactly comforting. And now, staring down that giant statue, he knows they're in for a world of hurt. But when the statue lets loose with this insane beam, leaving them trapped and scared stiff, Song's quick to tell him to stay put and not poke the bear any further. Chui's paralyzed with fear while Song praises Jin Woo for his quick thinking, acknowledging they owe their lives to his observation. Despite losing an arm, Song stays tough, and Jin Woo tends to his wounds as Jui struggles with the pressure. Song identifies the statue as a serious A-rank or maybe even S-rank threat, guessing it's the deity from the tablet's commands. 10 years back, the Gates showed up, bringing all sorts of supernatural stuff and hunters with special powers tasked to deal with dungeon monsters. Meanwhile, Jin Woo's sister's chatting about his constant injuries at school, but his classmates ain't buying his hunter status. In the dungeon, impatience leads to a fatal screw-up as some guild-bound guy tries to bail but gets zapped by the statue's power, leaving nothing but his still-moving feet. It's clear this statue's packing some serious heat and could wipe them out no sweat, so why is it holding back? Jinwoo figures it's got something to do with the first commandment, which is all about respecting God. Fired up, Jinwoo hatches a plan giving everyone a glimmer of hope. Meeting the statue's gaze head-on, Jinwoo stops an attack dead in its tracks and tells everyone to bow down, figuring it's a sign of submission. Even though they're scared out of their minds, they go along with it. Mutton Chops chimes in, thinking they're safe now, but Jinwoo ain't convinced. Just when they think they're in the clear, the statue stands up, and they turn to Jinwoo for a game plan. But Jinwoo's feeling unsure about their odds, although he's dead set on sticking to the commandments on that tablet. When some brave soul steps up to pray, Jinwoo realizes it's a lost cause and the statue squashes the poor guy. Chaos erupts as more folks get taken out, including Parks, who's thinking about his family. Desperate for a solution, Jinwoo notices these statues are holding instruments and points everyone towards them. Even when he gets hurt, he refuses to give up, and when the big statue's about to finish him off, Jinwoo spots a singing statue just in time, realizing it's praising God. Despite his injuries, Jinwoo makes it through, but the raid's a total disaster, leaving everyone shaken. As tensions rise among the crew, one guy thinks Song losing his arm's karma for leading them astray. It's harsh, but Song takes it on the chin. Jinwoo knows they're running out of time with only one commandment left. When the giant statue raises an altar, Jinwoo remembers its significance from legends and realizes they're in for some faith testing. With flames appearing and the door opening, Jinwoo's got a plan, but it involves some risky moves. Jinwoo's strategy pays off, keeping the statues at bay, but when one woman bolts, it sets off a chain reaction of chaos. Jinwoo's on point with his deductions, figuring out the blue flames are a timer for their escape. Kim gives Jinwoo props for his unexpected smarts, but he's out of there, prioritizing his family's safety. Despite the odds stacking against them, Jinwoo refuses to give up. But then Song drops a bombshell, insisting Jinwoo and Jui leave while predicting the door will stay open if one person sticks around. She collapses from exhaustion, and Jinwoo urges them to go, sacrificing himself. Jui's torn, but Jinwoo assures her and hands over his gem, promising to square up later. Despite protests, Song knocks Jui out, apologizes to Jinwoo, and heads out with Jai. Jinwoo gets ready to face the music, regretting not having better insurance, but he's determined to take down a statue. As he fights, Jinwoo reflects on his journey from weakest to survivor. The statues keep coming, and Jinwoo's losing ground fast. Furious at his perceived failure, Jinwoo endures the pain and reflects on his journey, realizing he's given it his all to get here. Overwhelmed with rage, Jinwoo regrets the selfishness of those who fled, contrasting it with his own desire to see his family again. As the statues close in, Jinwoo questions why he's the only one getting the shaft. In his final moments, he wishes for another chance. As the last flame dies, a mysterious notification pops up, signaling the completion of a secret quest. Jinwoo wakes up in a hospital, shocked to find his arm intact. Jinwoo wakes up in the hospital, haunted by memories of limb ripping, but his legs intact, making him wonder if it was all a dream. Woo from the Hunter Association reveals Jinwoo was out cold for 3 days. Juvie and Mr. Song survived but are banged up. Only 6 made it out of the dungeon madness, and the temple vanished, leaving everyone baffled. Woo suggests Jinwoo might have had a second awakening, but Jinwoo's power test crushes that hope. He's still a civilian. With no clue how he survived, Jinwoo's mind races until his sister bursts in, worried sick. His sis catches him zoned out and asks if she's seeing what he's seeing. Jinwoo thinks back to those game messages and suggests checking his inbox. Lo and behold, there's a daily quest for strength training waiting for him. He digs deeper into those panels and finds out it's some system meant to boost player skills, with penalties for slacking off. Despite being confused as hell, he accepts the quest and gets to work. Meanwhile, Woo's giving the chairman the lowdown, saying Jinwoo didn't get that second awakening after all, leaving the incident under special scrutiny. They toss Choi into leading a B-rank raid, even though there's some doubt, but Choi's all about leading by example. Somewhere else, observers are on standby as another gate cracks open. Back in the hospital, Jinwoo's snoozing away until a midnight notification jolts him awake, saying he flunked the quest, triggering some seismic event. He finds himself in the desert, staring down a freaking monstrous caterpillar, with a penalty quest popping up. Survived for 4 hours. Nurses are on the hunt for him, but he's too busy dodging creepy crawlies, barely escaping before reappearing in the hospital, quest complete but out cold. Later on, he reassures his sis that he's on the mend before suiting up and hitting the road. Jui gets a raid invite but hesitates, learning Jinwoo's been on the move non-stop since waking up. Jinwoo finally realizes he's not hallucinating the pop-up windows in game's rewards, including ability points, noticeably enhancing his strength. With newfound power and skills, Jinwoo reflects on the game-like nature of his life. His last daily quest reward surprises him with a mysterious key, unlike the usual loot, teleporting him to an instance dungeon, aiming to enhance his strength further. Gates popping up is old news, even making headlines. Visiting his mom, Jinwoo recalls her condition caused by continuous mana exposure from the gates. Despite initial struggles as a hunter, Jinwoo is now determined to improve, focusing on strength training. He heads to the dungeon location, prepared to bail if necessary. Using the key, he unlocks a mysterious gate, ready to face whatever's waiting on the other side. As Jinwoo explores the area, a sudden notification informs him he's entered an instance dungeon, with the exit sealed behind him. While most are clueless, Jinwoo realizes he's in a whole new dimension where instance dungeons rule, a world he's unfamiliar with. Though he draws parallels to the rumored Red Gates, his lack of experience leaves him uncertain. He knows fleeing isn't an option anymore. Another notification reveals his only escape options: defeat the boss or find a teleportation stone. He encounters goblins, bringing back memories of past battles. They attack fiercely, pushing him to his limits. Jinwoo fights back, dodging and countering like a boss. Each goblin he defeats pumps him up until a massive beast shatters his dagger, crushing his spirit. Now fear grips him like never before, and he wonders why. The monster charges again, but Jinwoo refuses to yield, delivering a powerful punch. Surprised by his newfound strength, he struggles against the monster's advantage. Realizing he can't win alone, he retrieves a sword from his inventory, a costly but timely acquisition. He dispatches the monster, but two more appear. With quick thinking and his new weapon, he overcomes them, reaching level 2 in the process. Jinwoo recognizes the value of real combat, where he gains 5 points compared to 3 from daily quests. Feeling invigorated, he plans to grow stronger by focusing on his base abilities. He searches the beasts for essence stones but finds items instead, reminiscent of a video game. Jinwoo realizes this dungeon and its creatures differ from Gates. Surprised, he discovers a shop in his system but lacks the level to buy. He sells a tooth for 20 gold, uncertain of its worth in an E-rank dungeon. He must defeat the boss before leaving but lacks a teleportation stone. Facing a wolf pack, Jinwoo embraces the fight for growth, adhering to the system's rules. Exhausted after defeating them, he's dubbed the Wolf Assassin by the system. He gains a 40% boost against animal-type monsters and finds a teleportation stone in his inventory. Unsure of the dungeon's fate upon leaving, he opts to stay and progress. Meanwhile, Ju receives a call for help from the Hunter Association due to a nearby dungeon break, feeling compelled to assist after Jinwoo's efforts. As Jinwoo fights in the dungeon, he notices a correlation between his level and the ease of defeating monsters. The text describing their strength changes color: white for weak, orange for equal, and red for formidable. The wolves, once red, now appear white, indicating Jinwoo's significant leveling up. Aware of a powerful monster downstairs beyond his current abilities, Jinwoo senses its ominous presence. Despite reaching the limits of leveling in the area, he descends to confront it. At the bottom, he's ambushed by a lightning-fast attack, breaking his sword and revealing a colossal serpent, the boss. Despite his progress, the serpent remains a formidable opponent, its thick scales impervious to his weapon. Forced to flee, Jinwoo faces relentless attacks, questioning his strength as he narrowly escapes disaster. Before shedding his reputation as the weakest hunter, Jinwoo recalls being labeled as such, spurred on by Song's encouragement to prove him wrong. Overwhelmed by the serpent's power, he realizes his past weakness led to mockery and disdain. Recognizing the advantage strength holds in any situation, Jinwoo vows to toughen up, shedding his kindness for determination. With newfound resolve, he confronts the serpent, his body glowing with determination. Evading its attacks, he rides and crushes its scales with his bare hands, relying on his leveling system for strength. Defeating the serpent, he levels up multiple times, laughing in triumph. He receives a notification of defeating the Swamp King, gaining a powerful dagger and a toxic potion. As the dungeon transforms into a train station, Jinwoo, alone but victorious, encounters a soldier who mistakes him for a hunter. Together, they prepare to confront the remaining monster unleashed by the dungeon break, guided by Jinwoo's heightened perception. A massive golem wreaks havoc, causing fear among the people. The hunters struggle to combat it, with the healers focusing on keeping the tank alive. However, the damage dealers face challenges due to the golem's formidable defense and a shortage of magic-using hunters. Jinwoo observes the hurriedly assembled group's composition, noting their ranks and abilities. He's surprised to see Jui among the healers, struggling with her fear. Recognizing the golem as a weak D-rank boss, Jinwoo decides to assist by breaking through its defenses. He hurls his broken sword, shattering the golem's shield and enabling the hunters to defeat it. The tank realizes the sword's pivotal role in the victory, pondering the mysterious hunter's power. Jinwoo discreetly leaves, unaware of the full extent of his strength. As the battle ends, Joy wonders if Jinwoo intervened. It is stat points, exciting on strength and perception. He receives a reminder from his landlord about unpaid rent, but reassures himself that goblin hunting now comes easily, albeit with limitations on gate access due to his E-rank status. Jinwoo ponders revaluation but hesitates due to the rarity of reawakenings. Resolving to keep his powers secret until he fully understands them, Jinwoo is surprised by a job listing, prompting his sudden departure. Jinwoo hustles through his daily training, meeting a fellow hunter Gunhee who seeks his help to meet the quota for his C-rank dungeon exploration. Despite being labeled the weakest, Jinwoo agrees to join, tasked with carrying supplies for the group. The team, comprising mostly tanks and damage dealers, lacks a healer due to the difficulty in recruiting independent parties. Jinwoo meets Leo, a D-rank hunter, and reassures him about handling the supplies. As they approach the massive gate, Jinwoo explains the significance of magic power in determining dungeon ranks, alleviating Leo's concerns. Inside, they find the absence of magical creatures and encounter darkness akin to the temple entrance. Jinwoo educates Leo about various stones, including essence stones and glow stones, before revealing his suspicion of powerful magic beasts lurking in the dungeon. Panic ensues among the group as they realize they're trapped in an ant's nest, hearing the monsters draw closer. Jinwoo warns the crew of the beasts lurking above, prompting them to unleash a coordinated attack. Hung, their southeast rank leader, employs his taunt skill to draw aggro, impressing Jinwoo. Leo, eager to join, is held back by the mage, who reveals a powerful trick. Jinwoo observes the team's teamwork and Leo's gear, compensating for his skills. Sensing something amiss, Jinwoo discreetly destroys one of the ants, leading to the fight's end. Hung praises Jinwoo for his instincts, noticing the ant's unusual injuries, hinting at a stronger threat. Leo reveals his well-equipped status, prompting Jinwoo's caution. Meanwhile, in another location, Guildmaster Beak displays his immense strength, startling onlookers with his training. Back in the dungeon, Jinwoo reflects on the crew's lack of a healer and the party quota's need for more members. They worry about the absence of healthy creatures but stumble upon a tunnel leading to the boss's lair, filled with valuable monocrystals. Amidst their discovery of valuable monocrystals, the hunters suspect Hum of having ulterior motives, believing he seeks to assert his dominance over his brother. Hum plans to use the hall for personal training. Leo, the legal expert, notices a discrepancy in Jinwoo's contract regarding the distribution of loot, prompting Hum to agree to divide the monocrystals evenly. They must defeat the dungeon boss to close the gate, necessitating the retrieval of transport gear. Hum reassures Jinwoo and Leo, urging them to trust his decisions as newcomers to S-rank dungeons. As they depart, Jinwoo analyzes the situation and grows suspicious of their lack of experienced support. Meanwhile, Hung covertly orders the boss's chamber sealed, betraying Jinwoo and Leo's trust. Jinwoo recalls Song's warnings about the dangers of dungeon raiding and remains vigilant. Leo regrets bringing up the contract as they realize the hunters are willing to sacrifice them for the monocrystals. With the boss awakened, Jinwoo takes charge, ready to confront the formidable beast head-on, determined to emerge victorious. Hung's crew ditches the dungeon, leaving the newbie hunters to fend for themselves against a dangerous spider. They're banking on the spider wiping out the newbies while they swipe valuable loot. Hung knows taking on the spider directly is a no-go and plans to snag Leo's gear if things go south. Meanwhile, Gunhee, a bigwig Hunter Association president, is bored stiff in meetings but finds solace in sparring with his driver. Back in the dungeon, Jinwoo, despite being warned off by Leo, takes on the spider boss. His newfound strength surprises Leo, and Jinwoo defeats the beast, earning praise. As Hum's crew returns, shocked to find the newbies alive, Jinwoo's status as a powerhouse becomes clear. These girls are feeling lucky to be in two of the sickest guilds around, especially with all the messed up stories about other squads with crazy high death rates. Meanwhile, Hum's crew thinks the newbies only survived in the dungeon because the spider was dumb as a rock, and they clown on it for losing to low-level hunters. Hung spills Leo's rich family secret, but Leo's like, who cares? Then Hung drops a bomb, telling Leo he's only getting one chance to off Jinwoo, fearing Leo's superpowered gear might be a threat. Hung's stoked when Leo heads toward Jinwoo, but shocked when Leo takes Jinwoo's side. The evil crew decides to end the newbies, making Jinwoo wonder if they've ever killed before. Jinwoo gets an urgent mission to take out 6 enemies and goes after the weakest one. Leo freaks out seeing Jinwoo's injuries when the mage attacks Jinwoo. Meanwhile, Chahi boasts about taking down an A-rank beast easily. Jinwoo starts beating himself up for forgetting this world's shady tricks and backstabbing. Realizing the system wants him alive and strong, Jinwoo decides to use it to his advantage. He tells the crew the weak are prey in the dungeon, but warns them it won't always be that way. When one objects, Jinwoo swiftly takes them out, shocking everyone. As the kill count rises, Jinwoo knows he had to do it to survive. The crew tries to fight back, but Jinwoo's debuffs kick in, and he takes them out individually. The archer and mage fall to Jinwoo's wrath, leaving only one standing. Leo's mind is blown by Jinwoo's newfound strength, surpassing even the dungeon boss. Han, buffed up and confident, underestimates Jinwoo, thinking he's tired from the boss fight. But Jinwoo surprises him with lightning speed, revealing he's been leveling up all along. Hong tries to bribe Jinwoo, but Jinwoo in having it after Hong's attempts on his life. Jinwoo mocks him, reminding him of dungeon rules before ending him. With the boss defeated, the dungeon begins to collapse, leaving Jinwoo and Leo as the sole survivors. The official doubts their victory, but gets distracted by some gear. Jinwoo gains a terrifying new skill, cutting enemies' abilities in half. The official assumes Jinwoo hid during the fight, but Leo acknowledges his bravery. As it starts raining, Jinwoo's just happy he could give his sister an umbrella. Elsewhere, Jinwoo hears about this insane thing. 6 hunters got wrecked, but 2 survived after taking down the dungeon boss. Typically, hunters peace out when outgunned, but it blows Jinwoo's mind that they took down the boss. When he finds out Jinwoo's mixed up, he knows it's related to Hong. Jinwoo heads home and tells his sister he will handle their mom's hospital bills. Jinna figures he made bank on his last raid, but since Jin was not banged up, she figures he had a solid crew. Jinwoo spills the beans, saying that it is a cakewalk, not just because he is more robust, but because he doesn't hesitate to finish them. He realizes leveling up made him fearless, but those guys were human, not monsters. Janice snaps him back to reality, and he remembers why he's getting more robust for his family. If he had to do it again, he totally would. Then he notices something funky in his drink, but keeps sipping and doesn't get wasted. A notification reveals a reward from the double dungeon. It nullifies toxins and amps up his healing. Now he gets why his arm grew back. Things are getting intense. Later, Jinwoo meets up with Leo, who's grateful that Jinwoo has saved him. But Jinwoo insists Leo doesn't owe him anything. Then Leo drops a bomb. He's forming a strike team. Jinwoo shuts him down before he can ask him to join. Leo explains he needs Jinwoo for 19 raids to become a guild master for his dad's construction company. Dungeons are risky but lucrative, and every item inside holds value. Leo's dad wants an S-rank hunter as guild master, but only 7 are in the country, and the only available 1 man is retired. Leo's dad plans to poach an S-rank from another guild, but Jinwoo warns him it'll make enemies. Leo tries to convince Jinwoo by offering him the headquarters building worth 30 billion U to complete the raids. Jinwoo declines as he's focused on leveling up, and the risk of teaming up is too high. Leo promises to keep Jinwoo's secret, but backs off when Jinwoo gives him a chilling look. Meanwhile, Hum's brother Wong is furious about his death and wants to know about the survivors. Laura, his assistant, warns him about the legal consequences of killing someone in another country, but Wong plans to deal with it later. He hopes the survivors stick around long enough for him to take them out. Jinwoo jogs with his sister the next day, asking her what she'd do with 30 billion yen. She can't even imagine because it's too unrealistic. When Jin was alone, he notices his system is counter-ticking after he hits his goal. Testing its limits, he finds it stops at double the goal, and the daily quest becomes undercover. He opts for the blessed loot box and scores big, a key to the Demon King's castle and ingredients for the elixir of life. Jinwoo heads to the dungeon to visit his sick mother. Flames engulf everything inside, but he's determined, armed with a teleportation stone. Facing a giant monster, he fights back despite being outmatched. His attacks barely scratch the beast, and his debuffs get cancelled. Losing his arm, Jinwoo struggles as the monster's rage skill kicks in, doubling its power. Jinwoo tries to buy time by kicking dirt with his health plummeting, but Cerberus knocks away his teleportation stone. Desperate, Jinwoo remembers he has a shop in his system and buys healing potions, facing the snake's poison head-on. Jinwoo gulps down the poison like a champ, and the system detoxifies it, reducing his physical damage by 20%. Cerberus deals a devastating blow, but Jinwoo refuses to give in. As the monster's rage skill wears off, Jinwoo capitalizes on its weakened state, landing multiple attacks and finally making progress. Despite being tossed around like a ragdoll, Jinwoo keeps fighting, pouring all his strength into a final blow that defeats Cerberus. Leveling up several times, Jinwoo's wounds heal, and he earns the key to the demon's castle. With the recipe for the elixir of life in hand, he realizes he's not ready to face the castle yet, but he promises to return soon. Visiting his mother, Jinwoo wonders if he can cure her eternal sleep disease, knowing he needs ingredients from the castle. Jinwoo knows he'd be toast if he tried to storm the castle at his current level, so he decides to level up instead. He teams up with Leo for 19 C-rank raids. but he wants to do it just for the two of them to impress his dad. Leo's not thrilled about the idea but respects Jinwoo's drive. Meanwhile, Cha Han stays on her toes during her workout, sensing she's being watched. She meets Yun, who comes out of hiding and introduces himself. On another front, Leo's dad talks about how vital gates are in the world and how guilds rake the dough from dungeons. Leo's dad plans to start their own guild to shake things up, which might help with Leo's worries about hiring random hunters. Jinwoo keeps training and realizes that leveling up makes extra exercise less effective. He thinks about returning to the penalty zone to face the centipede again, knowing it won't be easy. Jinwoo receives a notification for a D-rank mission from the Hunter Association, meaning he can't fight solo. Song, missing an arm, finishes teaching a lesson at a dojo. He gets a notification for a raid and reflects on his past, wanting to contribute to society despite his injuries. Kim is annoyed about an interview but calms down when he learns Yugen Construction is starting its guild. He demands to know why he's called to the office. Ji's mom wants her to give up being a hunter, but Jai refuses, asserting her independence. He gets a notification for a D-rank raid. Cha Han turns down an offer to be guild master from Yugen Construction and wonders about their conversation with Beak. Beak reflects on the aftermath of the failed raid on Jeju Island and Mr. Choi's determination to clear the island, knowing they need to gather strength and allies for the task ahead. Meanwhile, Gan observes Jinwoo's increased activity and wonders if his training pays off. Jinwoo, seemingly calm, sets out on a mission without his gear, causing Gan to worry about his safety. Somewhere else, Song thinks about his sword skills and how they stack up against magical beasts. He bumps into Jinwoo, noticing the changes in his look and wondering how his leg healed. As they head to the gate, Kim, Juhee, and a crew of prisoner hunters join them. At first, they're not sure about teaming up, but they decide to go for it, with Song taking the lead and thanking Jinwoo for his past help. Inside the dungeon, the prisoner hunters show they're no joke, handling the goblin-like monsters like pros, impressing everyone else. Song marvels at Jinwoo's increased strength as they effortlessly defeat a group of goblins. Jinwoo's aura impresses everyone, including Juhee, who hopes no one will need her healing skills. They encounter a fork in the path and decide to split up to clear the dungeon faster despite the increased risk. Jinwoo senses the boss's presence but keeps it to himself, wanting to challenge stronger foes. Meanwhile, Kim's group regrets abandoning Jinwoo and plans to apologize. On the other path, Kang reveals his plan to avenge a tragedy involving his daughter by killing 3 prisoners. Kim intervenes, leading to a confrontation where Kang changes his plans. The group finds the prisoners and Kang dead, with Kim injured. Jinwoo realizes the danger they're facing is not from magical beasts. The weapon used was incredibly sharp, and the attacker intentionally avoided finishing off Kim multiple times. Kim is even up on surviving, but Jinwoo reminds him of his family and demands that he stay alive. Kim uses his last breath to apologize to Jinwoo before passing away. Kang then tries to attack Juhee, but Jinwoo intervenes and stops him. Kang reveals his plan to frame the prisoners for the massacre, claiming he is the lone survivor. Song steps up to fight Kang despite knowing Kang is a level above him. With Juhee's help, Song tries to defeat Kang but is outmatched. Kang underestimates Song's abilities and Song uses a clever tactic to land a hit on Kang. However, Kang sees through the plan and is about to kill Song when Jinwoo finally steps in. Kang is surprised by Jinwoo's speed and power, realizing Jinwoo had his second awakening. The others are shocked and Kang remembers Jinwoo from the hospital. Kang believes Jinwoo's second awakening happened after the Mona Reader stopped at Chapter 10, but he's determined to take Jinwoo out regardless. Jinwoo confronts Kang about his actions, questioning why he killed Kim and Kang instead of quickly eliminating them. Kang admits to enjoying torturing his victims, revealing his preference for killing people over beasts. A fierce fight ensues between Kang and Jinwoo, quickly impressing onlookers. By relying on his experience, Kang gains the upper hand until Jinwoo's system alerts him to enemies seeking to eliminate him. Jinwoo receives a quest to destroy his opponents and is engulfed in a dark power. Kang is surprised by Jinwoo's sudden attack and is shocked to realize he's been poisoned. Despite this, Kang uses a stealth skill to disappear and lands a hit on Jinwoo. However, Jinwoo instantly heals himself, surprising Kang, who has never encountered a combat hunter with healing abilities. Jinwoo's unpredictability and newfound lack of emotion make him a dangerous opponent. Kang realizes Jinwoo has taken human lives before, leading to changes in his personality and abilities. Jinwoo tracks Kang by sensing his bloodlust, surprising Kang once again. When Jinwoo unleashes his killer move, Kang is shaken as darkness envelops him and Jinwoo's blade nails him in the chest. As Kang kicks the bucket, he admits they're killing machines, but Jinwoo's on another level. Kang's blown away by Jinwoo's skills but warns him that chasing power might end up controlling him. Jinwoo finishes his quest and gets rewarded, but he feels like he is losing something inside as he gets stronger. His buddies thank him but are shocked when he decides to finish the dungeon solo. Outside, Jinwoo finds out about Kang's shady past and is surprised to see Jinwoo among the survivors. He apologizes and asks who took out Kang. Jinwoo realizes he can't keep his secret and calls off his deal with Leo. Song lies and says he took out Kang, but Jinwoo's not buying it. He reluctantly goes along with the story. Jinwoo senses Jinwoo's immense power and knows he can't take him in a fight. Song trusts Jinwoo has a good reason for keeping his secret and sees it as payback for their past. Jinwoo and Jui Chapel taking a stroll reflecting on Jinwoo's changes. Jui decides to retire and return to live with her parents, but she and Jinwoo agree to meet again if fate allows. Jinwoo remains skeptical of Jinwoo, not believing an E-rank like him could defeat B-rank Kang. However, Jinwoo warns Jinwoo about Kang's brother, who may seek revenge. Dong Hun, an S-rank hunter, may be coming after Jinwoo as there are no legal repercussions for S-rank hunters' actions. Jinwoo suggests Jinwoo leave the country with his family, but Jinwoo sees this as a reason to become stronger. Jinwoo meets Leo and his strike team, a group of skilled individuals unable to work as hunters for various reasons. They agree to a job with a substantial payment but must keep it secret or pay a heavy penalty. Jinwoo receives a stealth rune for defeating Kang, allowing him to learn stealth skills. Leo surprises Jinwoo by wearing even more expensive armor, but Jinwoo insists he ditches it due to its impracticality. They enter a portal to a C-rank dungeon alone, stunning other hunters who think they are insane. However, Jinwoo's group clears the dungeon swiftly, shocking the other hunters. They plan to hit up 3 raids in a single day, and despite initial disbelief, Jinwoo and Leo continue clearing dungeons alone, facing more brutal monsters. Jinwoo's stealth and dash skills improve, and he gains new powerful skills. He focuses on boosting his intellectual abilities and considers himself between a B-rank and A-rank hunter, opting not to return to the Demon Castle for now. The system reveals that Jinwoo has reached the required level for a job change quest elsewhere. Meanwhile, the boss of another guild, named N, learns about a strike team splurging double the market rate to snag some C-rank gates, led by the rich kid Leo. A recognizes Jinwoo's name from the double dungeon incident and senses something interesting is happening. Jinwoo and Leo emerge victorious from another portal, but Jinwoo notices something about S, who brushes it off. Meanwhile, En's assistant is shocked when he hears him speculating about Jinwoo's potential reawakening due to his survival through multiple disasters, and heads out to scout Jinwoo, arriving at their location to find them seemingly having a picnic. He realizes Jinwoo left the rest of the crew behind to enter the dungeon solo, which surprises him. After Jinwoo and Leo discuss their upcoming plans and introduces himself as the manager of the White Tigers Guild and offers Jinwoo double what Even Construction is paying him to join his guild. Jinwoo, however, questions the worth of the White Tigers Guild headquarters, surprising him. Jinwoo backs up his claim with evidence and negotiates a deal with him for 3 gates. He surprises him by lowering his price per gate and even offers him a healing potion for a cut on his face, showing trust. En's assistant wonders how it went, and believes Jinwoo may be an even bigger deal than he initially thought. The next day, Leo confirms they got the 600 million U, but Jinwoo keeps the details secret, calling it a trade secret. Meanwhile, En realizes Jinwoo played him but acknowledges they are now on equal footing. He's relieved to have Jinwoo's contact info, realizing Jinwoo isn't someone to mess with.